Hi friends, my name is Kaylee Ambergy and today I'm going to be sharing this book with you with permission from Scholastic. This is Lily's Purple Plastic Purse and it was written by Kevin Henkes. And before we start reading, I just want you to look at the cover and look at Lily with her purple plastic purse. So first I want you to think about how she feels about her purple plastic purse. And then I want you to think about something that is really special to you. It could be anything that you have, like a toy or maybe a piece of clothing like this purse or anything. And later on in the story, we're going to think about how you might feel if you were Lily and these things happened to you. So this is Lily's purple plastic purse. Lily loved school. She loved the pointy pencils. She loved the squeaky chalk. And she loved the way her boots went clickety-clickety-click down the long, shiny hallways. Lily loved the privacy of her very own desk. She loved the fish sticks and chocolate milk every Friday in the lunchroom. And most of all, she loved her teacher, Mr. Slinger. So right now, I want you to think about school. Think about all the things Lily loves about school, and then I want you to think about what is one thing that you really love about school. And just keep that in mind as we're reading the story. Mr. Slinger was sharp as a tack. He wore artistic shirts. He wore glasses on a chain around his neck. And he wore a different colored tie for each day of the week. Wow, Lily said. That was just about all she could say. Wow. Instead of greetings, pupils, or good morning, students, Mr. Slinger winked and said, howdy. He thought that desks in rows were old-fashioned and boring. Do you rodents think you can handle a semicircle? So rodents are just another word for mice and little animals. You see, Mr. Slinger and Lily are mice and they're friends. And he always provided the most tasty snacks, things that were curly and crunchy and cheesy. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Me too, said her friends Chester and Wilson and Victor. Can you think about anybody like Mr. Slinger who maybe made you think about what you want to be when you grow up? At home, Lily pretended to be Mr. Slinger. I am the teacher, she told her baby brother Julius. Listen up. Lily even wanted her own set of deluxe picture encyclopedias. What's with Lily? Asked her mother. I thought she wanted to be a surgeon or an ambulance driver or a diva, said her father. It must be because of her new teacher, Mr. Slinger, said her mother. Wow, said her father. That was just about all he could say. Wow. Whenever the students had free time, they were permitted to go to the light bulb lab in the back of the classroom. What does permitted mean? That sounds like a new word. If you're permitted to do something, it just means that you're allowed to do something, like you're allowed to go to the playground after lunch. You're permitted to go. They expressed their ideas creatively through drawing and writing. Lily went often. She had a lot of ideas. She drew pictures of Mr. Slinger, and she wrote stories about him too. During sharing time, Lily showed her creations to the entire class. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That was just about all he could say. Wow. And look at the picture that she drew for Mr. Slinger. Big, friendly Mr. Nice Man teacher. She really likes him, doesn't she? When Mr. Slinger had bus duty, Lily stood in line, even though she didn't ride the bus. Lily raised her hand more than anyone else in class, even if she didn't know the answer. And she volunteered to stay after school to clap erasers. So we don't have to clap erasers at school anymore because we have smartboards and whiteboards, but back when this book was written, most schools had chalkboards and the chalk dust would get in the erasers and somebody would have to stay after school and clap all the dust out of the erasers. It does not look like a very fun job, but Lily stayed to do it every day for Mr. Slinger. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Excellent choice, said Mr. Slinger. So after we read all of that about Lily and Mr. Slinger, how do you think that she feels about him? She wants to be a teacher, she claps the erasers, she always raises her hand, she writes the nice stories about him. So I think that Lily really likes Mr. Slinger, and she wants to be a teacher because of him. Let's see what happens next. One Monday morning, Lily came to school especially happy. She had gone shopping with her Grammy over the weekend. Lily had a new pair of movie star sunglasses, complete with glittery diamonds and a chain like Mr. Slinger's. She had 3 shiny quarters, and best of all, she had a brand new purple plastic purse that played a jaunty tune when it was opened. So now you can think about that really special thing that you were thinking about. What do you think might happen if you brought it to school? What would you want to do? Would you want to just keep it away for yourself, or would you want to show it to everybody? Let's see what Lily does. Here's the picture of her with her plastic purse and her sunglasses. Lily wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Listen to our story. Lily had a hard time listening. Lily really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Let's be considerate of our classmates. Lily had a hard time being considerate. What does it mean when we are considerate of our classmates? What are some things that we could do that would be considerate? Maybe things like listening when the teacher is talking and staying in our seats and paying attention and not talking over other friends when they're talking. Lily really, really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Wait until recess or sharing time. But Lily could not wait. The glasses were so glittery, the quarters were so shiny, and the purse played such nice music, not to mention how excellent it was for storing school supplies. Look, Lily whispered fiercely. Look, everyone. Look what I've got. Everyone looked, including Mr. Slinger. He was not amused. So let's look at Mr. Slinger's face in this picture. What do you think amused means? He is not amused. He does not look very happy. I'll just keep your things at my desk until the end of the day, said Mr. Slinger. They'll be safe there, and then you can take them home. Lily's stomach lurched. She felt like crying. Her glasses were gone. Her quarters were gone. Her purple plastic purse was gone. Lily longed for her purse all morning. She was even too sad to eat the snack Mr. Slinger served before recess. That afternoon, Lily went to the light bulb lab. She was still very sad. She thought and she thought and she thought, and then she became angry. And she thought and she thought and she thought some more, and then she became furious. She thought and she thought and she thought a bit longer, and then she drew a picture of Mr. Slinger. So, remember this first picture that she drew about Mr. Slinger? The big, friendly Mr. Nice Man teacher? Do you think that she's going to draw that again? What do you think that Lily's going to draw in her picture now that she's furious? Think about that for a second. Big, fat, mean Mr. Stealing teacher, wanted by FBI. He has claws and fangs. And she says, P.S. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up. And right before the last bell rang, Lily sneaked the drawing into Mr. Slinger's book bag. When all the students were buttoned and zipped and snapped and tied and ready to go home, Mr. Slinger strolled over to Lily and gave her purple plastic purse back. It's a beautiful purse, said Mr. Slinger. Your quarters are nice and jingly, and those glasses are absolutely fabulous. You may bring them back to school as long as you don't disturb the rest of the class. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up, Lily said as she marched out of the classroom. On the way home, Lily opened her purse. Her glasses and quarters were inside, and so was a note from Mr. Slinger. It said, Today was a difficult day. Tomorrow will be better. There was also a small bag of tasty snacks at the bottom of the purse. So now I want you to think about, how does Lily feel now? She wrote that big, really mean note and put it in Mr. Slinger's bag, and he put the nice note and the snacks in her bag. So how do you think she feels about that now? Lily's stomach lurched. She felt like crying. She felt simply awful. Lily ran all the way home and told her mother and father everything. Instead of watching her favorite cartoons, Lily decided to sit in the uncooperative chair, like the timeout chair. That night, Lily drew a new picture of Mr. Slinger and wrote a story about him too. So now this is the third picture that she's drawn of Mr. Slinger. So what do you think she might put in this drawing? She wrote, Lily was really, really sorry, so everyone forgave her, even her parents, even her stinky baby brother, even her especially incredible teacher. And then the sun shined its smiley face down on everyone and everything, even the bugs and worms. The end. And she drew another nice picture of him there. Lily's mother wrote a note, and Lily's father baked some tasty snacks for Lily to take to school the next day. I think Mr. Slinger will understand, said Lily's mother. I know he will, said Lily's father. The next morning, Lily got to school early. These are for you, Lily said to Mr. Slinger, because I'm really, 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 really sorry. That's a lot of reallys, isn't it? She is really sorry about the mean note that she wrote to Mr. Slinger. Mr. Slinger read the new story, and he looked at the picture, and he read the note, and he sampled the snacks. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That was just about all he could say. Wow. What do you think we should do with this? Asked Mr. Slinger. Could we just throw it away? Asked Lily. Excellent idea, said Mr. Slinger. During sharing time, Lily demonstrated the many uses and unique qualities of her purple plastic purse, her shiny quarters, and her glittery movie star sunglasses. It's like having an extra pocket with a radio inside. 3/4 are even better than $1 because they make noise. Glamorous protection from harmful rays. Then she did a little performance using them as props. It's called interpretive dance, said Lily. Mr. Slinger joined in. Wow, said the entire class. That was just about all they could say. Wow. Throughout the rest of the day, Lily's purse and quarters and sunglasses were tucked safely inside her desk. She peeked at them often, but did not disturb a soul. Right before the last bell rang, Mr. Slinger served Lily snacks, to everyone's delight. What do you want to be when you grow up? Asked Mr. Slinger. A teacher, everyone responded. Lily's response was the loudest. Excellent choice, said Mr. Slinger. As the pupils filed out of the classroom, Lily held her purple plastic purse close to her heart. Mr. Slinger was right. It had been a better day. Lily ran and skipped and hopped and flew all the way home. She was so happy. And she really did want to be a teacher when she grew up. When she didn't want to be a dancer or a surgeon or an ambulance driver or a diva or a pilot or a hairdresser or a scuba diver. The end. So now that we finished reading the book, I want you to think about your special object again. And what would you do if you came to school? Do you think that you'd want to be like Lily and show everybody? And I also want you to think about, why do you think Lily went back to liking Mr. Slinger at the end? Why does she want to be a teacher? Because remember, she said she did not want to be a teacher when she grew up. So I just want you to think about what Mr. Slinger did to make her like him again, and why she likes him so much by the end of the book. Well, that is all I have for Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, so thank you for watching. Bye!